My beloved, my precious child, the one heaven has watched over since the moment your soul was formed. Why are your hands trembling right now? Because your spirit already feels it. This is not an ordinary message. This is not something you can read halfway and leave behind. This is the moment where time folds itself, where destiny holds its breath, waiting for what you will choose in the next few seconds. I, Archangel Michael, am not speaking in quiet whispers today. I am raising my voice like a trumpet. I saw him, the one who cursed you, the one who has been watching from the shadows waiting for a chance to tangle your path with his schemes. And I must tell you, we cannot stop him without you. Prayers alone won't be enough this time, even an angel cannot block his reach unless you stand in the light with us right now. Child, do not scroll past or think I'll finish this later. Later is too late, the snare has already been set and I have only moments to guide you out before it snaps shut. Your name has already been uttered in a dark council, a twisted bargain spoken over your blessings. But heaven itself interrupted that gathering so that you could hear this right now. Before I go deeper, you must know this. There are forces that hate that you're even reading this. They'll try to pull your attention away. Your phone may buzz, a sudden wave of tiredness might come, or your thoughts may drift. That is not coincidence. That's resistance. Because what I'm about to reveal will cut the rope that has been dragging you down for years. Stay with me, beloved, freedom is closer than you think. When I saw his face, I felt the same blaze that God placed in me on the day I fought in the great war of heaven. But I also saw your face, the quiet ache in your eyes, the nights you prayed but heard only silence, the mornings you woke and felt doors closing before you could even reach them. This curse was never just about blocking your blessings, it was designed to crush your heart until you gave up. But you didn't. That's why I'm here. That's why heaven has permitted me to speak so openly, because you held on even when you felt too weak to keep going. Now a great exchange is about to unfold. If you stay with me to the end of this message, the curse will lose its grip and the blessings that have been locked away will begin to flow toward you. But listen carefully. If you dismiss this warning, the shadow will keep moving, waiting for that moment when your guard is down. I don't say this to frighten you, I say it to save you. Every moment you remain here reading these words, light is slipping into places where darkness has lived for years. The curse is already cracking as your heart begins to open. God's hand rests upon you now. The enemy feels it, that's why he trembles. Yes, he is terrified of what you become when you align yourself fully with heaven. By the time you reach the end of this message, he will flee. Pause for a moment, breathe deeply. Do you notice it? That weight sitting in your chest is starting to lift. The curse is being named. And once something is brought into the light of God, it loses its hold. I see chains falling, I see the pit they dug for your joy collapsing beneath them. The one who cursed you believed you would never discover their plot. They wore a mask of kindness, smiled at you, spoke words that sounded like blessings, yet behind your back they sowed poison into the soil of your life. But I stood watch at the edge of their words, I saw the precise moment the curse was released. That's why I'm speaking so urgently now, the time for silence is over. Don't step away. This is the turning point. This is the moment heaven removes the knife from your back and places a sword in your hand. You are not a victim. You are chosen. And no curse can survive the moment a chosen one stands firm in the truth. Lean in now as if you were listening to the heartbeat of heaven itself. The very air around you is stirring with something ancient and holy, something that terrifies every shadow that ever tried to reach you. You think you are just reading a message, but in truth you are standing in a divine courtroom. Your case is being decided as you read. Each sentence I speak is like a legal decree in the spirit, stripping the enemy of every claim he thought he had over you. The one who cursed you is shaking, not because of me but because of the promise you carry. Do you even know what you carry, child? A promise older than the earth itself. No man, no curse, no demon can rewrite it unless you surrender it, and today I am here to make sure you never will. When I first saw the one behind this curse, I was not as you imagine me. I stood clothed in battle-light armor, blazing like molten gold, sword sharper than any falsehood he could wield. He thought his work was done. He thought you were too weary to fight back, too wounded to rise again. He mistook heaven's silence for abandonment. But the silence was never absence, it was preparation. God was gathering the angels, storing up power like a storm before the thunder breaks. Now, child, that storm has broken, and it has broken in your favor. Perhaps you've wondered why recent weeks felt unusually heavy, why even small things kept going wrong, why friends began to act distant or confused. That wasn't random. It was the curse trying to tighten its grip, trying to make you doubt your worth, shrink your prayers, and silence your faith. But instead of breaking you, it brought you here. And here you are, hearing the truth that will shatter its hold. And now, as you let this truth sink in, remember this. Your fight is not just about surviving, it's about reclaiming everything that was delayed or stolen. The one who cursed you wanted you to think you were forgotten. But God says your name has never left his sight. The enemy hoped you would walk away right before the breakthrough, but heaven says the breakthrough begins right here. Stand firm, breathe again, and know this moment is not the end of your story, it is the start of your rising. If you wish to express your support further, you have the option to give super thanks with contributions of up to $100. That means the curse is already shrinking, because its greatest weapon was always the darkness of being unseen. It could only live in secret. The moment truth steps in, its power starts to dissolve. I have torn away its cover, and now it has nowhere to hide. Listen carefully, my beloved, because the next few hours are not ordinary hours. They will echo through the coming years. This is not about creating drama, this is about a turning point in destiny. The one who cursed you was never strong on their own. They were drinking from another's darkness, stealing power that was never theirs. That well is drying up even now. Their whispers have been running on borrowed breath, and that breath is fading. The only thing that has kept it alive is that you didn't see it for what it was. But now you do. And as recognition fills you, it breaks them. I can see it, light reaching into corners of your soul you didn't even realize had gone cold. That trembling in your chest isn't fear, it's recognition. Your spirit remembers this kind of battle. It remembers me. It knows the sound of my sword as it slices through lies. It knows that when I arrive it's because heaven has already decided you will rise. What remains is your choice whether you'll stay until the last blow lands. That is why I am pleading with you as a warrior who has stood on the front lines, not as a poet. Don't walk away now. Don't think you can save this for later. Later is the hiding place where curses breathe again. Right now my words are cutting off its oxygen. The one who cursed you is not far. They are closer than you dare to believe, close enough to watch you every time you get back up, close enough to be unsettled by your resilience. They might smile at you, say your name sweetly, even offer a helping hand. But their reach stops where heaven has locked the door, and I am here to weld that door shut with the words you're hearing. You've asked yourself why certain blessings always seem delayed. Why the relationships that felt safe collapsed just as you started to trust. Why the money you worked for slipped away. Why your dreams felt almost within reach yet stayed just out of your grasp. It was never because you lacked worth or because God forgot you. It was because someone dared to tie your name to their bitter words, planting weeds in the soil meant for your harvest. But hear me now as I speak, the scrolls of heaven are being unsealed. Your name is written there in letters of gold, and the blessings written for you existed long before the curse was ever uttered. Those blessings are heavier than the curse, older than the darkness, and once they are released no hand can hold them back. The curse was only a delay, never a cancellation. And now the delay is ending. If your heart is stirring as you read this, it's because deep down you already recognize this as your turning point. I am not standing here only to fight on your behalf, I am here to fight alongside you. Because when you align yourself with heaven's truth, every shadow around you loses its grip. You must also understand the battle for your life was never random. It was calculated, deliberate. The one who cursed you didn't simply toss careless words into the air. They shaped them, sharpened them, and aimed them like arrows at the very places you felt most fragile. They believed if they could wound you there you'd never rise again. And yet here you are, still standing, still breathing, still carrying a light that could not be put out. That is why they fear you more than they'll ever admit. I have seen the battlefields where the air was thick with darkness, but nothing compares to the look on their face when they realized you weren't broken. They expected your heart to shatter under the weight of disappointment. They thought your faith would crumble when answers didn't come quickly. But your faith, even in its bruised and quiet form, has been a wall they couldn't climb. To heaven you have looked like a fortress. Every tear you shed was not a sign of defeat but a beacon to God that you were still reaching for Him. And every cry you released was heard even in the long silence. Now listen closely. I am not here just to tell a story, I am here to place a weapon in your hands. Words, when they carry heaven's breath, are not mere sounds, they are swords. And as you keep reading, that sword is being forged in your spirit. Soon you will slice through lies without hesitation. You'll see through false friends and stand in places they swore you'd never reach. But first there is a moment approaching. It may appear small, so ordinary you might ignore it, but it carries the weight to shift the entire course of your life. It's the moment when the one who cursed you will try to reach for you again. They may not speak it plainly, it may come as a mocking joke, a subtle suggestion, or even a false kindness meant to hook your heart. When that moment comes, you must remember this. If you stand your ground, they will have no power. The spiritual world is not as far away as it may seem. Even as your eyes read these words, angels are moving around you. The curse has knotted itself into opportunities, into relationships, even into the edges of your emotions. But with every line released here, those knots are coming loose, threads snapping one by one. The sound is like chains striking stone, the sound of freedom. Many believe patience is merely waiting in silence, but heaven's patience is the fierce act of holding your ground when the enemy expects you to run. You have done exactly that. You didn't flee your post. And because you remained, reinforcements have come. That is why I am speaking to you now without pause, because heaven has decided the time of delay is finished. This is your appointed hour. The battlefield that once felt endless is tilting in your favor. The shadows that once seemed unstoppable are now scattering like smoke at dawn. And as you continue to hold to the light, you will see doors swing open that you thought had rusted shut forever. This, my beloved, is not the end of your story. It is the moment your story shifts. And even as I speak, the one who cursed you is already shrinking back, realizing their grip has slipped. They are learning the same lesson I saw in the first great battle, that darkness never wins when even one soul stands in the light without backing down. The release has already begun, my beloved, but don't let that make you careless. When light first bursts into a dark room, the shadows don't simply bow out politely, they claw, they scramble, they hiss at the edges. That is why the days ahead may feel unusual. Some of your dreams might grow vivid and strange. People may suddenly start arguments over things that don't matter. A heaviness may drift into your chest at random hours. This is not a setback, it is the final scream of a dying curse. Its last breath sounds like chaos before silence. When this chain finally snaps, you will feel it, not like a whisper but like the air itself shifted. Your very name will feel lighter in your spirit. Your prayers will begin to move with no resistance, like arrows cutting through fog. Doors that once groaned shut will swing open so easily you'll wonder why they ever felt sealed. People who overlooked you will see you clearly. Opportunities will come like birds landing on your open palm without effort. This isn't coincidence or luck. It's restoration, what heaven always intended for you being returned. Do you sense the trembling right now? That pulse in your spirit is not fear, it's recognition. Every line you read is a step further into agreement with heaven. Stay close, my child. Before this message ends, I will reveal not only who set this curse but also how to seal the gates so no shadow ever dares return. First, understand this. Curses don't begin the day they're spoken aloud. They are planted quietly through side glances, jealous sighs, whispered jokes that aren't really jokes, secret agreements formed in silence. The one who cursed you rehearsed it in their heart long before they dared speak it. Every time they saw you rise from a fall, every time you smiled through pain, every time even the smallest blessing reached you, the seed of envy in them grew. They weren't troubled by your failures, they were haunted by your victories, even victories you didn't notice yourself. They pretended to clap for you but waited for an opening. And when they found it they poured their poison. Yet heaven recorded every thought, every word, every shadow act. I was there. Their words carried bitterness but no real authority. And here is the secret no curse wants you to know. Anything spoken without heaven's permission has an expiration date. That date is now. But listen carefully. Curses rarely travel alone. They bring fear, delays, patterns that repeat until you start thinking they're normal. You've seen it, doors swinging open only to slam at the last second. Friendships that start warm and end suddenly cold. Money flowing and then vanishing. Joy interrupted by bad news. None of this was random, it was a web. But webs burn in fire. Every word I speak to you now is flame from heaven's breath burning each thread. That's why you may still feel a strange resistance as you read, a heaviness, a whisper telling you to set this aside. That is the curse trying to pull you away from the moment it fears most, the moment you finally know the truth. I won't let you slip away half delivered. You've endured too much for that. When I say your name, I speak not as men do but in the language of heaven, the name etched for you before you were born. That name carries a crown, a weight of destiny, a seal that no darkness can break unless you hand it over. And you haven't. You've not lost your crown. You've not lost your destiny. The seal is intact. Yes, the one who cursed you has been close, closer than you'd want to imagine. They know your soft spots. They know the times you're most vulnerable. Sometimes they've even tried to comfort you only to stay near enough to watch the damage. But they made a fatal mistake. They forgot that even the smallest thread of light can unravel an entire shadow. They forgot your name was never theirs to hold. I saw them recently in the spirit. They're restless now. They can feel something slipping away but can't explain it. The power they borrowed is being called back. Heaven has issued a recall. The contract over your life is being shredded. They're desperate to stop it but they can't. This is why I'm here sounding like thunder. This is why you cannot treat this lightly. Walk away before the message is complete and they might find another loose thread to tie. Stay until the last word and there will be no thread left. They will watch from afar as you walk free and they will not be able to follow. Do you want me to take you even deeper, to the exact moment heaven marked the end of this curse and the signs that will prove it? Then stay with me, beloved. Because what I'm about to pour out will make you unshakable. The breaking of a curse is not quiet. It leaves fingerprints, the patterns that haunted you will start fracturing. People who hid behind false kindness will no longer mask their discomfort, they'll flinch when light touches them. You'll step into rooms that once drained you and feel energy flow back into your bones. Conversations that once felt like walking on eggshells will feel like standing on solid ground. You may notice some faces slipping from your life, not out of cruelty but because light is making them retreat. Don't chase them, let them go. They can't walk where you're about to walk. This is the moment where your atmosphere clears, where heavy air becomes breathable. This is where your voice stops carrying the weight of unspoken curses and starts carrying the authority of someone who has overcome. Heaven's patience isn't passive waiting, it's standing firm when the enemy expects you to run. You've done exactly that. You've stayed at your post even bruised, even tired. That's why reinforcements have arrived. That's why I'm here now pouring these words like water on dry ground, because heaven has decided delay is over. Now feel the shift. Something ancient and holy is moving around you. Threads are snapping, chains are falling, the last shadows are curling back into nothing. This is your appointed hour, my beloved. Walk forward as if it is already done, because in the Spirit it is. The heaviness you've carried like a second skin will suddenly feel unnatural. And for the first time in a long time you will breathe without that invisible weight pressing on your chest. The one who cursed you imagined their words could become your prison walls. But those walls are already cracking. I hear them groaning in the Spirit as each stone loosens under the vibration of truth passing through you. When the final wall collapses, you won't merely step out, you will emerge carrying hidden treasures that have been quietly accumulating during every season of waiting. Every delayed blessing has been quietly growing, interest amplified by God's own design. God does not just restore, He multiplies. You've asked before in quiet desperation, why me, why this long struggle, why does progress always feel blocked? The answer, my beloved, lies in the mark you carry. From the very first breath your life was written into a narrative too significant for the enemy to ignore. Every success, every small triumph you've had has been a threat to chains forged to suppress more than just you. They were meant to halt the ripples of destiny you were designed to create. But the enemy underestimated something powerful. God is never intimidated by timing. Delay only amplifies release. And now the blessing behind the curse is ready to flood your life, breaking barriers, filling empty spaces, and restoring everything with abundance. Stay with me, my beloved, because every word you continue to hear aligns you with heaven's decree. Once spoken in the spiritual courts, no shadow can rewrite that verdict. Signs of the curse's undoing will appear almost immediately. First, you may notice people growing distant, their presence no longer a part of your life. This is not loss, it is confirmation that the threads connecting them to your life under the curse are severing. Second, opportunities that seemed lost will resurface, sometimes through unexpected means or strangers who carry doors in their hands. Third, your dreams will transform. Visuals of open doors, fallen chains, and light flooding previously unreachable places will begin to appear in your spirit. The one who cursed you will sense this shift too. Their final attempts to provoke, manipulate, or bait you into anger will fail. Your calm, your refusal to respond in their expected way will be a hammer sealing their defeat. My beloved, this is not just revelation, it is a gift. A spiritual key is being handed to you, one that locks in this breakthrough so no darkness can infiltrate again. I will not leave you until every last chain is accounted for and you walk away untouchable. Because a curse breaking in spirit is not enough, it must be sealed fully and permanently. Too often people are freed temporarily only to find darkness creeping back under a new disguise. That will not be your story. I have seen the trials you endured. I have witnessed the invisible pressure pressing in from every side. Yet through it all you held faith like a lantern cutting through a storm. For that persistence heaven has decreed a release that will not expire. When God seals a matter, it is legal in the Spirit. A mark is placed on your name, recognized by all forces of light and darkness alike. It declares this one is untouchable. The claim over this life has been removed. No curse, no whisper, no hidden attack can cross this line without facing full divine justice. My mission is to ensure that seal rests on you permanently. The one who cursed you aimed at your identity, your worth, your belief in God's promises. They wanted you to shrink, to live small, to question your calling. Every setback was meant to echo a lie that you were insufficient. But as I speak to you now, standing before the throne of God, know this: you are exactly as heaven designed you. Your size, your calling, your destiny, it is no accident. There are moments in heaven when time bends and what would normally take years can happen in days. You are in one of those moments now. The curse is unraveling faster than it was ever formed, and when it snaps fully, restoration will be sudden, undeniable, and overflowing. People may not understand how things changed so quickly, but you will know. Now understand this: the enemy will try one final interference. Distractions may rise, sudden demands on your time, irritations, or a subtle voice urging you to pause. That is not random, it is a last grasp of shadow. Ignore it, stay with this moment. The sealing process will bring an immediate change to your atmosphere. Your mind will feel sharper, the heaviness in your chest will lift, and your steps will feel lighter. Every corner of your life that has been weighed down by delay will begin to open. Every opportunity previously blocked will find its way to you unhindered. Every door that seemed impossible to open will swing wide, sometimes in ways you could never anticipate. And my beloved, this sealing is not only spiritual, it is practical in its effects. People who meant to harm or mislead will be unable to come near you without discomfort. Words meant to poison your reputation will fail. Hidden attacks in your career, your relationships, even your thoughts will hit resistance, as if an invisible wall has been erected. The blessing that follows this moment is not a trickle, it is a flood. Prosperity, peace, joy, and clarity will rise in ways that feel almost surreal, because it has been built quietly for you while you endured the trial. This is why you must stay present until the last word. Your attention is the final ingredient in securing the decree of heaven. My beloved, as this message reaches its final tone, breathe in the power surrounding you. The curse is gone. The doors it locked are swinging wide. Your destiny is secured. And in the silence that follows, listen carefully. God's favor will begin to hum, a resonance of blessing that cannot be denied. This is your appointed moment, your hour of release. Step forward without hesitation. Step forward in the authority given to you by heaven itself. Your life will now reflect the full weight of divine intention, unstoppable and unshakable. And as you move through this new reality, you will notice a shift that feels almost miraculous. The small annoyances that used to drain you no longer have the same power. Traffic jams, missed appointments, delayed responses, they may still occur, but their weight is gone. What used to frustrate you now passes like a ripple on the water, leaving no stain behind. You will find your energy returns quicker. Your thoughts are clearer. And the voice of God that once whispered faintly in the background now speaks like a beacon, unmistakable and guiding every step. The subtle nudges you may have once ignored become unmistakable signals directing you toward your next alignment, your next breakthrough, your next appointed opportunity. Even more, my beloved, you will begin to see the fingerprints of heaven in the people around you. Conversations will turn in your favor almost effortlessly. A casual mention of your name will spark opportunity. Allies appear when you least expect them, often in disguise as strangers or fleeting connections. They carry keys you didn't even know existed, doors you couldn't imagine opening on your own. And every time you interact with these people, the air around you hums with a quiet energy that others feel but cannot name. They are drawn to the light that now radiates from your presence because it is no longer dimmed by the shadow that once clung to you. The one who cursed you will feel it. Not just in your success, but in the confidence that now drips from your every word, your every decision, your every step. They will try subtle manipulations, small acts designed to distract, to pull you back into the old patterns. But the seal upon your life placed by heaven itself will make them restless and uncomfortable. They may linger hoping for a crack, but they will find only walls and light too strong for them to penetrate. And in that moment, my child, you will see clearly just how powerless they were all along. The fear they tried to instill in you was always borrowed from lies. It never belonged to you. And now, standing fully aligned with God, it cannot reach you. Your dreams, long delayed, will suddenly breathe with life. Ideas you tucked away out of fear or practicality will begin to bloom. Doors you thought closed forever will open without struggle. The people who once seemed distant or uncaring will return in ways that are harmonious, not forced. They will see you as heaven intended, not through the fog of past judgments or misunderstandings. You will step into rooms and feel the atmosphere itself bending toward your favor. You will speak words of faith and responses will arrive faster than you could have orchestrated. You will know without doubt that you are no longer negotiating with the world is now responding to the authority God has placed in your hands. And this is why, my beloved, I urge you to pay attention to the subtle signs. When doors open suddenly, when blessings arrive unexpectedly, when the heaviness you carried for years lifts almost effortlessly, recognize them as heaven's fingerprints. These are confirmations that the curse has lost its grip, that its voice has been silenced, and that the life written for you from the foundation of the world is now flowing without obstruction. What was delayed will come in abundance, what was stolen will return multiplied, and what was weakened will now stand stronger than before. There will be moments of disbelief, moments when your eyes see the sudden shift but your heart hesitates to accept it. Those are the moments to speak out loud, to declare victory, to name the goodness, the favor, the protection now surrounding you. Your words, your prayers, your declaration are the final hammer blows in this battle. They will seal what has been opened and protect what has been restored. Each affirmation, each step taken in faith strengthens the chain of protection and prosperity around you. Do not underestimate the ripple effect of your obedience in this moment. Every step you take in faith is a step not only for you but for those around you who will be touched by your freedom. Every barrier removed in your life clears a path for others to walk through as well. The curse was designed to not just hinder your growth but to obscure the impact you were meant to have on others. But now, with its power broken, your influence will multiply. You will inspire, you will lead, you will heal, sometimes without even trying, simply because the chains that once bound you are gone. And in the quiet spaces when the world seems to hold its breath you will feel it. That unmistakable, unshakable peace settling into your bones. The restoration will not be slow, it will surge through you like a tide you cannot resist. The blessings that were hidden, stored and delayed now have a momentum that cannot be contained. This is the moment where every prayer, every tear, every act of faith in the dark becomes visible in the light. You will see your life rewritten, your story restored, your destiny activated. Finally, my beloved, when you look back at the seasons of delay, the opposition, the whispered curses and the silent struggles, you will understand. It was never the end, it was preparation. It was the furnace refining your spirit, expanding your faith, stretching your heart so it could hold what was coming. And now you stand on the threshold of that promise, fully realized, fully released, fully sealed. Every enemy, every shadow, every doubt now knows its place, powerless. You are free, you are blessed, you are untouchable. And nothing will ever erase what has been written in heaven for you. And as this vision unfolds, I see you stepping into rooms that once felt too grand for you. The very tables where you once feared you had no seat will now have a chair waiting with your name on it. Hands that once turned you away will now reach out to welcome you. Where you used to stand at the edge watching others rise, you will now find yourself in the center, honored and trusted. I see your shoulders relaxing as the weight you carried for years slips off without a fight. Those clenched fists that once gripped worry as if it were the only thing keeping you upright are now open, ready to receive. Resources don't arrive as scraps anymore, they flow in steady, generous streams. The constant shortage that made you shrink your dreams can no longer chain you. I see trips you once canceled because you thought you could not afford them now booked without hesitation. A project you had tucked away in the corner of your heart thinking it was beyond reach is now coming alive with excellence and joy. Even your home feels different, no longer marked by anxiety but wrapped in a quiet, steady assurance that there is enough and more than enough. Nights once filled with restless thoughts and the weight of unseen fears will now cradle you in peace. Sleep will come not as a battle but as a gift. And in those peaceful hours dreams will no longer be confusing fragments but vivid previews of open doors, warm hands offering gifts, paths lit with clarity. You awake refreshed, not burdened by the shadows of yesterday but energized for what is ahead. And yes, even the one who once cursed you appears in this vision, yet they stand far off, unable to cross the line drawn by grace. Their words sharp as arrows before now fall harmlessly to the ground. They will watch from a distance as blessings fall on you like soft unending rain. They cannot stop it, their season of influence has ended and their bitterness will have to witness your joy. This is not a fragile dream, it is a certainty written in heaven's record. It is your future. So when the wind of blessing begins to push you forward, do not resist it. Lean into it. Trust the shift. It is neither a trap nor a fleeting moment, it is the fruit of the curse being broken and the seal of favor being set upon your life. I see you walking into places you once thought were out of reach, standing at the edge of waters that part as you take your first step. I hear the words of those you will meet, voices speaking kindness and welcome. And I see miracles, quiet ones in ordinary days and great ones that will leave you breathless. They will unfold not to surprise you but to confirm that the vision was true all along. Do not let fear drag you back to the chains you have already left behind. What lies ahead is not a fragile spark but a steady flame. Walk forward without hesitation, for the time of delay is over. You are stepping into the pages that were written for you before you even knew to hope for them. Amen.